Ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event of the evening. It's
Almost.
time!
Hey, what's up, everybody? You have reached It's Almost Time, where normally we break down the fights from the prior night or the prior weekend and look forward to the fights ahead. And when I say normally we, it's because normally it's a team effort. I got two co-hosts that usually do this with me. Dre or the Trash Panda um is not available for this one. I was supposed to have the resident hater here with me this evening, but MIA. So we're just gonna run this. Like I said, I'm trying to keep this consistent because yeah, we need to have a set time to make this happen. So I'm gonna just run this. If he hops in, great. If not, I'm still gonna break down for you what happened last night with the fight night live between Blanchefield and Fiorot or Fior, as I think is how you say it. My apologies if I totally murked that. Um, yeah, last night was UFC Fight Night. Aaron Blanchfield versus Mignon Fior. It was kind of a controversial card, if you ask me. It was a little crazy, a little different, but just a lot of controversy. There was a few different fights that there were some eye pokes, some low blows, and man, where to even start? I guess let's just start with the main event, Blanchfield versus Fior. This I thought was going to be a lot closer than it turned out to be. Come to find out that there's a reason they call Mignon the Beast, because first round was kind of competitive. Fior actually landed the only takedown of the fight, and Blanchfield capitalized though, had her in a guillotine, and actually had it pretty close. There's some replay footage. If you actually look at it, looks like she might have tapped. It was kind of, yeah, I don't know. It was one of those that was very, like, I don't know. You can barely see it in slow motion. So I get why he didn't call it. And then for the next 4.5 rounds, it was basically Mignon counter punching, and yeah, I don't know. Don't get me wrong, Fiora is a beast and she's going to be tough to beat, but I don't think she holds a candle to either Grasso or Shevchenko. And it was a kind of a lackluster performance on her part. Just a lot of backpedaling, picking counter shots, not really trying to put herself into too much danger to win the fight. Just more so was doing everything she could not to lose the fight. Give Blanchfield a lot of credit because for 25 minutes, even though it was not her night, she kept it going, kept with the pace, kept trying to initiate. She had actually, I think the fourth round was Aaron Blanchfield's strongest round, and just was unable to get it done, unfortunately. Co-main event of the evening was Joaquin Buckley versus Vicente Luque. And from my understandings, I think Sean Brady was supposed to be fighting Vicente last night. Ended up had to pull out, I think, a couple weeks back due to injury. Joaquin Buckley, who made his move officially down to welterweight, kind of had a couple good runs. I think he's fought twice at welterweight going into last night. Had some good fights, and wanted to find somebody ranked to fight, see where he stood. Got that chance against Vicente, and a little backstory, I guess 3 hours before his match, this dude was in Atlantic City having a pool party, really getting it in and turning up with the crowd and whatnot, and showed up, put some shorts on, and got I think it was a second round TKO. Let me double check on that. Yep, second round, 3 minutes 17 seconds. Got a TKO of Vicente. It was kind of back and forth a little bit, some feelers in the first round, second round. Vicente was getting touched and didn't like it so much. So when they initiated and made contact, Luque pulled guard and basically, yeah, Buckley was okay with it. They went right down to the ground, couple elbows and some ground and pound. I'm not gonna say Luque was hurt, but dude took about a dozen shots unanswered, wasn't trying to fix his position, wasn't firing anything back, and the ref stopped it. Feel like he probably could have taken some more and he probably could have even fought through it. But you don't pull guard and then let somebody hit you 12 times in the head and not try to better your position. So I thought it was a justified stoppage. I actually called it as it was happening. I was like, oh, if he keeps hitting him like this and he doesn't do anything, they're gonna stop this fight. And sure enough, they did. Yeah, Buckley's gonna be ranked here come Tuesday. I want to say Luque was ranked 11, maybe. Hold on, let me double check that. I hate speculating, but we gonna find out. We just gonna hop over here to the UFC website and let's see where is he at? Yeah, number 11 on rank. So Joaquin Buckley probably should be taking that number 11 spot there in welterweight. I like it. We got to meet Joaquin back in last June or last July during fight week. We were standing in line and the dude's outside talking, chopping it up with people. And I remember saying to him, I was like, "Oh, you really dope for coming out here and chopping it up with the fans, you know, the little guys." And he's like, "Oh, I ain't trying to chop it up. I'm trying to get in." I guess he wasn't there for the panels. He wasn't there for the autographs. He was just there for the fans. So again, made me respect him even more. Um, got a photo op with him and was just a very humble dude. Was just really happy to see all the fans and get to interact with everybody. But yeah, he was really down to earth. I still need to holler at you, Mr. Buckley, because we want to get you over here. Quick plug, if you don't know, if you're streaming, if you came across this on Facebook, you probably came across this through a Real Ninjas podcast page. We are powered by or being presented by a Real Ninjas network. So again, shout out Prez. We appreciate that. Never a bad thing to get an extra medium to go ahead and broadcast what we're doing here. Of course, as things progress, we're gonna try to up production value. I need to order myself an actual mic and mixing board and really step it up for y'all. But either way, the fact that any of y'all tuning in and checking us out, we appreciate it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, all that dumb shit us creators over here need to kind of make the stuff start popping. Let's see here. Okay, so we're hitting our first little bit of controversy, and actually, this is part of our.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Oh, wrong thing. This is why I can't be multitasking too much.
Parlay boys.
This was Mr. Resident Hater Paul's pick for the evening. He had Weidman over Bruno Silva. And for the time being, he's got himself a little notch on the list. And why I say time being is this fight ended in controversy and big controversy. It was a third round. It originally got stopped as a TKO stoppage for Weidman, but after review, and this was the third incident in the fight. I think the first one happened in the first round, second one happened in the second round, and then dude just doesn't learn his lesson, or I guess you don't take a point for somebody for poking eyes, and they're just going to keep poking eyes. Because going into the third round, this is the first time I've seen somebody catch two fingers with one punch. Caught him in both eyes, and it was bad. This is actually what initiated Bruno Silva dropping to the ground, and Weidman swarmed on him. Got himself a TKO victory, but after review, they actually ruled it to a what was it? It's not unanimous decision. There's a weird word that they got for it. Let me jump back over here. Technical decision, technical unanimous decision. Since it was after 2.5 minutes of the second round, they went to the cards and gave Weidman the decision that way. Word is that Bruno Silva is already disputing this and is trying to fight it. He wants to get it overturned, and I don't blame him. This should have been called a no contest. So for the time being, we're going to add a notch to Paul right up top, but I'm going to put it way off to the right so I can scratch it out when that shit gets turned back to a no contest. Don't get me wrong, Weidman looked a lot better than I figured Chris Weidman at the age of 39 was going to look. He's had a tough couple years. He had that really bad leg break. He fought what was it? It wasn't Tyson Pedro. Let me see. And here I go guessing and just saying a bunch of names and shit. Give me just a second. I'll tell you who he fought. It was Brad Tavares. He fought, and Tavares got a unanimous decision victory. Weidman, I think, was still a little bit of ring rust, had been out of the cage for 2 years up to that point. But right off the bat, going into the fight last night, was throwing some leg kicks, body kicks, head kicks, was definitely testing that leg and didn't have any issues. So shout out to him for that. But no, 2 rounds going into that third round, I had Weidman up 28 or no, 18. 20 to 18. I can't fucking math right tonight. And then third round happened, and again eye pokes, and again the 2 that happened prior were both by Weidman. There was one in the second round that the judge warned both of them to watch their fingers, but if you watch the replay, Silva didn't hit him in the eye. He got close, but wasn't sticking no digits in. Another thing that kind of pissed me off about this one is that when Weidman was giving his post-fight speech, basically was telling Bruno not to play up the eye pokes. Like if you get poked in the eye, you just got to tough it up. It was a really bad look, and I get like, hey, he wants to keep the show going. He's happy, he got himself back in the win column, but that wasn't a legitimate victory. Again, you were winning that fight, but let's clean it up. I don't know, maybe UFC needs to invest in some better gloves moving forward, like because there's a dude by the name of Trevor Whitman that's got a really good glove design, and the only reason I feel like the UFC has not taken him up on it is because he's got a patent on it. It always comes down to money, but for the better part of a decade, the UFC is knowing it's got an issue when it's come to its gloves, and they have yet to address it. Because I don't get it. This is equipment for your athletes, your brand, what helps you build your brand. Let's step it up. Let's get this glove situation fixed, or let's start deducting points and really enforcing these rules when it comes to these eye pokes. Because 3 eye pokes to 4 eyes in a fight, it's uncalled for, and especially from a veteran like Chris Weidman, you should know better. That's my 2 cents on that one, anyways. It was like I said, it was a really weird night. There was I think a fight earlier in the night. I actually got hit with 2 low blows. I don't think it got stopped or anything like that. We actually had one really weird fight, and I think it was the Petrosky fight. Yeah, Andre Petrosky versus Jacob Malkoun. That was into very early into the second round, and Petrosky went for a shot, and as he went in to shoot, caught the side of his temple on the guy's hip, or like his pelvis bone, rocked himself and fell down, and it was ruled a TKO. Jacob Malkoun won. This is a very rare thing. I don't think I've ever seen it happen in the UFC, but I am aware that it has happened. This is a very common thing. Well, I won't say common, but it's not an impossible thing. People go in for shots all the time and end up hitting themselves on the head on that bone, and I guarantee you it does not feel good. But yeah, Malkoun got the win over Petrosky. I think this is Petrosky's second loss in 3 fights. He's coming off of, I think, the Contender Series. So who knows? They're probably going to try to get that turned around. If not, it's going to be a fighter released. And yeah, I don't know. I know there's a lot of people had some high hopes for Petrosky, but hopefully he can right that ship. Let's see here. Yeah, I'm gonna just go back up because Weidman. We had Nursultan Ruziboyev versus Sequarius Dumas. Ruziboyev got himself a second round TKO, and this kind of came at the end of a possible eye poke. Judge had seen one, I think, in the first round and called it, gave him a chance to recover, did not catch this one, and Ruziboyev jumped on him. I don't think this was nearly as bad as the eye poke that happened in the Weidman fight, but definitely some controversy. They almost just need to run both Bruno Silva and Weidman, and then Ruziboyev and Dumas back, because Again, without that eye poke for the Dumas fight, anyways, Dumas was standing in there. He'd been hit a couple times, but it would have been a pretty even fight up to that point. But as soon as his eye got compromised, he looked to the judge to stop. The judge wasn't doing, or not the judge. He looked to the ref to stop. Ref wasn't doing anything, and Ruzaboyev again. I can't fault him on this one because ref didn't stop it. You keep fighting, and he did. Ended up catching him with an uppercut, dropped him, and then a little bit of ground and pound, got him submitted. Um, we had Bill Algeo versus Kyle Nelson, and Nelson with a first round KO slept Algeo. Wasn't a bad fight, but yeah, Kyle Nelson got himself something. Kyle Nelson actually got himself rocked in the first couple minutes of the fight and turned it around, got him slept, and in his post-fight interview, he says, "Hurt me and see what happens." So that one was kind of decent. Chidi and Jokuani versus Rice McKee. This ended in a split decision, which I didn't see it anywhere towards McKee. I felt like Njokuani had control most of the fight, was doing his thing, and yeah, I had it 29-28, if not 30-27 for Njokuani. What do I know though? I'm just a guy on the couch, right? The featured prelim of the night was Nate Landwehr and Jamal Emmers. This was a pretty decent fight, and Nate Landwehr got himself a nice little TKO. Actually got himself a performance of the night bonus off of this one too, so a little extra 50K. I want to say, yeah, there was actually only 3 bonuses given. I'll get to the other 2, but yeah, Nate Landwehr TKO victory over Jamal Emmers, performance of the night bonus as well. Actually, yep, that's not fight of the night, performance of the night though. This next fight was the middle leg of our
Parlay boys.
and this was Verna Jandiroba versus Lupi Godinez. This actually, I feel like the judges got wrong. It was a close fight, was back and forth, but they gave it unanimously to Verna Jandiroba. I felt like Lupi was picking some better shots, had better control, and again looked really good. I've liked the way Lupi has looked the last few fights. Verna was off of a long layover. I think she might have had a fight last November, maybe, but it had been a minute. And I think even prior to that, she had been off for a minute. Let me just double check on that. Okay, no, it had been even longer. It was closer to a year. Last fight that she got a win against Marina Rodriguez. But yeah, May 6th of 2023 up until last night. So yeah, basically an 11-month layover. Verna eked out a decision, and it was a unanimous. I don't know what fight the judges were watching, and maybe it was a side eye that Verna was giving the judges. They were scared to not give it to her. But yeah, she got a unanimous decision victory over Lupi Godinez. Lupi was our boy Andre's pick for the evening, so this is only his second loss or non-hit over the past 9 cards. Or no, because yeah, he's at 8. So no, this is the 10th card of the year, and he's only dropped 2 so far. So Lupi unfortunately did not get the nod. I thought she did, or I thought it was going to her, or at the least a split. But yeah, they gave it unanimously to Verna. It was an alright fight though. It could have been better. It could have been worse. This is one of them cards. Again, this is kind of filler because we all know what's happening and what is it? Actually, let me check my ticker. UFC 300 is 2 weeks away, so everything in between now and then is just a little bit of filler, and you'll see what I mean when I get to breaking down next week's fight night. Just got a handful of more fights to touch on here. We had Julio Arce versus Herbert Burns. Arce with a second round TKO. It was a decent fight. I don't remember a ton about this. I also had I was over at my pops' house last night because the prelims were on the ESPN Plus app or ESPN Plus, and the main card actually was on ESPN. I missed about the first 2 rounds of the first fight, or no, it was first round and a half. in Jokuani. So hey, maybe McKee did do something early in that fight, and I just didn't see it because when ESPN, when it hit 9 o'clock, they wanted to show the end of the basketball game that wasn't even really a game at that point. You got March Madness happening, so they was wrapping up some women's college ball. Came in kind of, yeah, probably halfway into that fight, but from what I saw, Chitty won that fight. But yeah, RC with the TKO over Herbert Burns. Performance of the night bonus was awarded to Mr. Dennis Bazookia versus yeah, with his bout versus Connor Matthews. This is actually Bazookia's third match in the UFC. This is one of the prospects over there from the East Coast in Jersey out of Ray Longo's gym and Matt Serra. They really like this guy, have really been pushing this guy. They got him in on a whim a couple fights ago. It didn't go his way. His last fight did not go his way. It's nice to see him get it turned around and actually get a TKO. He stunned him on the feet with a nice combo, went down and got the ground and pound, got him out of there, got himself his first win in the UFC, got himself an extra 50K for the effort. So shout out to Dennis Bazookia if he righted the ship and is finally going in the right direction that they thought he could go. He might have something for the featherweight division. So keep an eye out for Dennis Bazookia. Another fight of the night honors was a fight, and this was actually the fight of the night. Was Ibo Aslan versus Anton the Pleasure Man Turkali. And boy, when I tell you, man, I don't have anything personal against Anton Turkali, other than the fact that nickname has got to go. Like I until you change your nickname, I hope you drop every fight in the UFC. It bugs me. I don't know if it's where he's from. He thinks it's a good idea to have that as a nickname. He's Swedish. But yeah, calls himself the pleasure man, and it's just always rubbed me the wrong way. So Chikali, let's fix that. And if not, I hope that you just keep getting your head knocked off. This is kind of back and forth, but I felt like Aslan was getting the better of the shots. First round was a little even. Second started leaning more towards Ibo, and then by the third round, it was just again. I felt like it was a one-sided fight. Ended up catching Chikali really good. Got him stunned, got him down, ground and pound. Got himself fight of the night bonus too. Like I said, I know we kind of already touched on Andre Petrosky and Jacob Malkoun. Petrosky went in, shot, hit his temple off of his pelvis, and that was that. First fight of the night was Angel Pacheco versus Kaliom Loughran, and Loughran got himself a little unanimous decision victory. Can't be upset with it. It wasn't the best performance, but he definitely won the fight, so shout out on that. That was UFC Fight Night Blanchefield versus Fiorot in a nutshell. And again, my closing on this is I feel like Fiorot, she's good, she's strong, she's probably one of the toughest strength wise, anyways, in that flyweight division. But I don't think she holds a candle to Grasso or Shevchenko right now. I feel like you get Blanchfield another 6 months to a year, and then she'll probably be on a different level. Blanchfield just needs to go back to the board and get work on the stand up a little bit more. She came in as a grappler. She's a phenomenal grappler, but we found out what happens when you go into a match with somebody and you can't get them down and you don't have stand up. It's not going to be a good night for you, and that's basically what happened there. That actually, and I didn't even touch on it, but that was my parlay pick. I had Blanchfield because she has been on a tear. She was, I think, 5 or 6 wins, undefeated in the UFC. Only had 1 loss in her career. In Manon's defense, though, Fiorot only had 1 loss as well. They actually have the same amount of wins now, and Blanchfield just has an extra loss. So, I'm not gonna say the hype was killed because Blanchfield will be back. It took number 3 ranked finally stagnate her hype train a little bit. But she'll be back. I feel like you give her another year plus, and they might run that one back, or she's not going anywhere. She's very young. She's only 24, 26 or something like that. She's still got probably at least a decade in front of her if she wants it. So looking ahead though, we have UFC Fight 9 is going to be Brandon Allen versus Chris Curtis 2. And originally, Marvin Vettori was scheduled to be fighting on this one, but guess he got injured. Curtis and Allen had already ran it before. Curtis got the victory, so he's stepping in, and this is Allen's chance, I guess, to right a wrong, so to speak. So this is going to be at the Apex in Las Vegas. Main card starts at 5 p.m. Prelims start at 2 p.m. And let's just take a quick look. A lot of these prelim fights, there's not a lot of firepower. Again, this is the week before UFC 300, so you're not going to see a lot of big names. It's not going to be as stacked as as 300. We have Norma Dumont though versus Deuteronomy on that's the second, or I guess the co-main event of the prelims, and then Court McGee versus Alex Morono. Trevor Park, Charlie Campbell. I don't even know who Walter Walker is versus Lucas Bresky. Got Ignacio Bahamondes versus Christos Giagos. I don't even know how to say that. Alexander Hernandez versus Damon Jackson. And then we have the main event, Brendan Allen versus Chris Curtis. Taking a look here, and I've just been on a skid lately. I think I've lost 4 of the parlay picks in a row. If not, it's been at least 3. But I'm going to just double down. We going down. This is like the Titanic. I ain't jumping off this sinking ship. So give me Norma Certified Dump Truck Operator Dumont. And if you don't know why they call her that, learn yourself something, please. Please. I won't spoil it for you, but I'm sure you can get it figured out. This is, again, should be an okay card. And some of these cards, when you don't know a lot of names, these turn out to be bangers of cards. Like you get some really good sleeper fights. I could even see the main event, Brendan Allen and Chris Curtis, being a banger. They threw down and definitely made it a good one last time. Curtis got the decision. I'm sure our resident hater isn't, we know who he's going to be pulling for in that fight. As far as parlay picks, was not able to link or get the picks for them or from them before going on tonight. So I didn't think I was going to have to with the resident hater. He's been MIA for a few weeks. I thought I was going to have him back, and he's not. So we here, we running it, and we filling it in. But like I said, 2 weeks from now, we got UFC 300, and this is like the creme de la creme of fight cards. Like, I do not think the UFC has ever stacked a card this high. They have 12 current or former champions facing off. If you actually do the math, that is 11% of the UFC's total champion or belt holders ever. 11% of them are going to be on this card. That's how stacked this shit is. I'm gonna do a quick peek, but before we go, I'm gonna just run a little something for you. We don't do this enough, and so we gonna break it down some how to do the raps.
What's going on, Cornbread, the Trash Panda, and y'all know how I do when it comes to rapping. I'm one of the best out here, or at least so I thought, until I met this man. You see how he rapping? Crew Eileen, cut man, rapper extraordinaire. He gonna get us right. Stay so we got the finished product. You know what I'm saying? He gonna explain what's going on here.
What you looking at? You want to love here. You want your knuckles to be black. How that feels when you punch?
That's cool.
You got cast on?
Yeah.
When you turn your hand, you want an open palm. Open it up. If you grapple, you want to be able to catch. Hold good. A boxing rap will be too much gauze and tape here. It will be hard for you to grapple.
Right.
But in MMA, I want you to have an open palm. Make a fist. Give me a punch. You fell down.
Yeah.
Protection here. Solid on the wrist. Open palm. what's up?
That's what's up. Crew Island. Crew Island, did I say that right?
You're right, baby.
That's what's up, man. Hey, we following them. We gonna get you all the info, too. Appreciate you. It's almost time. Peace.
And while we're here doing some plugs, even though I'm not in the best mood, or I'm not gonna say I'm mad at him, but yeah, we gonna have some words. Let me find you, Paul. Let me find you. But no, we gonna plug the homies' little new EP coming out. So and I'm gonna let him enjoy that parlay win until it gets recalled on Tuesday. But yeah, now looking ahead again, like I said, we got UFC 300 here. It's gonna be April 13th from the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada. Again, top to bottom. If you know anybody that is interested in wanting to see what the UFC is about, you got two choices. You could either show them any Justin Gaethje fight or highlight reel, or you could just let them watch him fight live, because this dude is putting the BMF title on the line that Saturday against Max Holloway. 5-round lightweight bout for the BMF title. And I'm kind of this is a pick'em to me. I thought for sure when they first announced it, I said, why do they hate Max? Is he like, does he not do what they want him to do? He fights anybody. He fights consistent. He's always entertaining. Why are they sacrificing him to the highlight? But the more I've thought about it, I mean, Max has been up at lightweight before. He fought Poirier once at at featherweight, and then once at lightweight. He's had a couple fights at lightweight, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember off the top of my head, so I'm not going to talk like I do know. But this is going to be a lot closer of a fight than I originally anticipated. Just Holloway has some of the best stand-up hands in the UFC, some of the best boxing. He had 3 absolute wars with Volkanovski, and that second one, I believe he won. Third one, Volkanovski did what Volkanovski has been doing up until the second Islam fight, and then as most recently as the Topuria fight. But my guess is dude's going to be back. I will also speak on some rumors through the grapevine. They did confirm in June it's going to be Robert Whittaker versus Khamzat Chimaev in Saudi Arabia, the first ever actual card in Saudi Arabia. And this is going to be a banger. It's going to be live on ABC. So if you want to check out a stacked card, I already know that they're going to hook them up because it's Abu Dhabi or it's Saudi Arabia. So they have the Arab money. They're going to put on a good card over there. They always do. You usually get what you pay for. And from my understandings, they pay pretty good. So going to have a banger of a card. Personally, I think Robert Whittaker is going to expose Khamzat at middleweight. Khamzat had a really close fight with Gilbert Burns at welterweight. So I don't think he's fought a caliber of fighter that Bobby Knuckles is, and at that weight. Even against Usman, that 3-round middleweight fight, he just did not look good. He looked good until he didn't. He gassed after the first round. And again, if that would have been a 5-round fight, I think that outcome's different. I think Usman I can't even talk. Would have got the decision, if not had gotten a stoppage if he had an extra 2 rounds, because Khamzat did not. He looked gassed. another speculation. It looks like they are targeting, and this is all hearsay. So allegedly, they are targeting Dricus du Plessis and Israel Adesanya for UFC 305, and it's supposed to take place in Perth, Australia. That would be a banger of a fight. I don't know how happy Strickland's going to be about it because this dude's still whining about wanting a rematch. He claims the belt doesn't matter, but then he said he's not climbing the ladder anymore. So it's pick or choose. Like, you either don't care or you don't want to climb the ladder. It's not either. If you didn't care, you'd fight anybody, right? Or if you want to do what you say you've been wanting to do, go over to boxing, fuck up Jake Paul, and make a couple $1 million doing that. Just you ain't got a lie to kick it, Sean. I know that you didn't care about the belt until you had it, and you realize that it's a very prestigious title to have. And now that you don't have it, you feel like you didn't lose the fight. Which, if I'm being honest, I gave that fight to Strickland too, so he's got an argument there. But to call for an immediate rematch when this was your first defense, this is why Izzy got to run it back. This is why Bulk's gonna get to run it back. Is because of the dominance and the multiple title defenses and the basically cleaning out of the division. You got offered a title shot on a whim because somebody else couldn't go. Pulled off the upset, and all the kudos to you, man, because you put on a clinic against Israel Adesanya. But then to turn around and to have a close fight like that against DDP, and it was a close fight, they gave it to DDP. And, I go fight somebody else in the top 5. If you stun them and get a dub that way, then you might have an argument. But again, Izzy put in that work. Volkanovski's put in that work to where there's levels to this shit. There's a reason they're going to get an immediate rematch. You haven't earned that yet. That's my 2 cents anyways. Don't come find me and talk a bunch of shit. I'm not about that life. Again, I'm a guy on the couch, right? But yeah, no, UFC 300, this is really what we've got our eye on. This kind of caps out the first third of the year for the UFC. They're kicking off the night, like I said, right away with 2 former champions in Davison Figueiredo and Cody Garbrandt. Next fight, you got Bobby Green and Jim Miller. Jessica Andrade, former champion, versus Marina Rodriguez. Jalen Turner versus Renato Moicano. This was actually the final fight that was added to the card, and this... not saying it's not going to be a good fight, but this one they could have put on the Rio card next month. I think Moicano would have liked that, but that's early prelims. And then kicking off the main prelims, we got Sadiq Youssef versus our boy here, Diego Lopez. I really like what Diego's done. He's had 2 fights, maybe 3 fights in the UFC. He dropped the first one, but it was against Mosvar Evloev. Again, you fight in Mosvar as your debut fight. That already says something about you. Another former champion, Holly Holm versus Kayla Harrison, making her UFC and women's bantamweight debut. This girl is a beast. Probably was walking around at 155, 160 prior. But I guarantee you, as soon as she got signed with the UFC, she went on that diet trying to get down to where it's going to be more attainable to get to bantamweight. You got former champion Aljamain Sterling making his featherweight debut against none other than Calvin Kattar. This should be a good fight. This is going to let Aljo know where he stands in the featherweight division. Kattar is ranked number 8. Aljo is still ranked number 2, but in the bantamweight division, I don't think he's going to go back down, though. Even if he does, it's going to be a minute before he gets to snip that title again. There's just so much happening, so many moving parts in the bantamweight division. They need to put O'Malley and Merab together. Let's do this sometime midsummer. I'd like to see that. Just get that out of the way, because I think Sean takes it. I think Merab. It's not that he's not good, because this dude's got some killer just grappling, wrestling, and the pressure. This dude is a cardio machine. But almost every competitive fight I've ever seen Merab in, he gets rocked, and he gets hurt early. If this happens against Sean, I don't see it going the distance. I feel like he is going to get the stop. Merab's style, yes, it's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of grappling. It's a lot of control time and pointing out. He's got a lot of decisions. O'Malley being the sniper that he is, I think this actually plays into his advantage with this. But yeah, we got also former champion Yuri Prohaska going against number 5 ranked Alexander Rakic. This is, I think, going to be a sleeper fight. People aren't expecting a lot. Yuri just coming off of the Pajeda loss, and I think Rakic. Let me just double check here. Yeah, his last fight was against Jan Blachowicz and lost. Oh man, Rakic ain't fought since May of 2022, so almost a 2-year layover. Didn't realize it'd been that long. But he had beat Anthony Smith prior and Thiago Santos by unanimous decision. Both of those decisions before losing to Blachowicz by a 3rd round TKO back May of 2022. Let's see here. Yeah, and actually, Prohaska and Rakic are the main prelim of 300, and then kicking off the pay-per-view. This is going to make some of the casuals a little bit happier. Bo Nickel is now kicking off the pay-per-view officially. It's going to be Bo Nickel versus Cody Brundage. This is going to be Bo's toughest fight, and even with this being his toughest fight, he's still a minus 1350 favorite. A lot of people are mad, like, oh, you're giving him cans, this and that. You know how many people they stick this dude up against and his opponent backs out? They realize they don't want the smoke. They don't want to jeopardize what they have going on in their career. So they don't fight him. Actually, yeah, Val Woodburn was a 3 or 4 day replacement because his prior opponent had backed out. Another thing too, Bo is still on his first basically rookie contract, which means I think he's getting like 20 to show and 20 to fight, or maybe 15 to show and 15 to fight. So he's still on the lower end of the pay scale. I don't blame him for not wanting to fight somebody ranked until you pay him ranked money. Either way, give me Bo. After that, we got Charles DuBronx Oliveira versus Arman Sarukian. That's going to be a banger. I love Charles, but I feel like Arman is on the upswing. He's put in a lot of work, and his last fight against Dariush made that look easy. Made it look easier than Charles did, I feel like. So I'm probably leaning towards Arman for that. Again, we got the BMF belt on the line. Justin the Highlight Gaethje versus Max Bless Holloway. It's a 5-round, 5-round event. We actually have the 3 main fights of the card are all 5 rounds because they're all championship or title fights. You know, this BMF title is just that. It's kind of made up, or it's whatever. But it's going to be a banger of a fight. And then we have the first ever China versus China women's strawweight title fight between Zhang Wei Li and Yan Xiaonan. This one, I could lean either way. I'm going to go with Wei Li just based off of the experience, but Yan deserves to be there. And then, of course, everybody's fight that we're looking forward to is going to be Alex Pereira versus Jamal Sweet Dreams Hill. Jamal's talking a lot leading up to this, and I don't blame him. I might be upset too when people aren't putting respect on my name. He's talking about how Alex didn't beat the champion to become the champion. You need to slow your roll right there, Jamal, because last I checked, you didn't beat the champion to become the champion. Yuri, the absolute warrior, Prohaska, got injured and basically gave up his title. He said, nah, y'all go ahead and fight for it. I'm going to get right, and I'll be back to get what's mine. So he gave it up. They ran, it was Jan Blachowicz and Magomed Ankalaev, which ended in a draw. So a month later, they decided to rerun another basically interim or open title, and it was Jamal Hill versus Glover Teixeira. And Hill, don't get me wrong, worked Glover, like really put on a clinic against him, but I believe it went to a decision. Let me double check, because I hate talking and just to talk. Yep, unanimous decision, but don't get me wrong, he dominated that fight. But you also got to think, I think Glover was 42, 43 at the time. Yuri had a back and forth fight with Glover. And then you look at what happened when he fought Poatan. Poatan made it look easy. I think Jamal, he's got good stand up. He's a very well rounded fighter. I got nothing but respect for the dude, but I think he is underestimating who the fuck Alex Pereira is. This dude is a 2 champion in Glory Kickboxing, I think it was. Like one of the best kickboxers to ever do the damn thing. He is the only simultaneous 2 division champ in Glory. So he's the first to do that and the only to do it. And he also came over here and within 3 years of being in the sport, I think has a 9-1 record. His only loss to Israel Adesanya, and is a double champion, or has been champions in 2 divisions in the UFC. And if you give him enough time to put the weight on right, this guy might end up being the first ever 3 division champion. It's going to be fun. Anybody who follows a hobby or collects cards, Topps is doing a buyback for this card, the main event, the winner of the main event. If you have base cards of the winner of the main fight at UFC 300, they are going to buy back. You got a base card, they'll give you $20. You got any kind of variation of an insert, you get $40. You got a number card in between $2.99 and $100, they'll give you $100. If you have anything 99 or lower of that card, and they are going to give you $200 to buy back. I don't know if it's like credit to buy more shit or if they will straight up send you cash. But I thought that was something really dope. I've never heard of a card company doing. I guess Topps does it a lot, but I didn't really get back into cards. And the only cards I really collect is this shit right here, UFC. So, I actually got base cards of both, so I'm cashing out regardless. But if I'm a betting man, give me Poatan. I doubted him the first Izzy fight, and I think it wasn't even that I doubted him. I just really fucked with Izzy, so I didn't want to see Izzy lose. And when Pereira beat him, kind of opened my eyes. Second fight, I was still pulling for Pereira or for Izzy. It was nice to see him get his revenge. But the second I heard Poatan was moving up to 205, that he became my new favorite light heavyweight. I'll just put it that way. On that note, though, I'm gonna stop talking your ear off because that's all I'm doing. Usually, I got somebody to bounce some shit off of. But I've been manning the shop the last 2 weeks on my own, and I'll tell you what, if nobody's available next week, you're gonna find me right here, same place, same time, breaking down next week's fights. So please tune in with me. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment. Like I said, I want to chop it up. Y'all need to give me some context or some content to answer, because I'm pretty well versed as far as when it comes to the fight game. Might not do it myself, but I watch a lot of it, and I've been doing it for a long time. It's one of my favorite subjects to talk about. Probably go on for hours, but I ain't gonna bore y'all with that. I appreciate anybody who decided to tune in with me tonight. Like I said, don't forget to like and subscribe. We are gonna get another Facebook page up. We got zucked. I still don't know what the fuck we did, but we're going to run it back. We're going to get another one. And like I said, here in the coming episodes, just little by little, we're going to start upping that quality here. So try to give you the best, maybe some graphics, maybe some light replays. Like I said, I ain't trying to get flagged either. Obviously, we did something that got us flagged the first time. So I'm going to make sure we doing it right, and we ain't going to get taken down over some dumb shit. But yeah, again, this is A1 here. And like I said, appreciate anybody who came, tuned in. I'll see you here next week. Same time, same place. Peace.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event of the evening.